Come with us now through the galloping excitements of 1983. A couple of hours in all, divided into 6 different sections. The classic scene up to the Derby in the Oaks. Muddy days ending with Lester Piggott once again king of Epsom. The top horses from June to August, featuring a special look at Royal Ascot and ending with the richest win ever for a British horse abroad. So let's begin by recording the chaos at the opening of the 1983 flat racing season. The weather, remember, was terrible, and the classic trials were more of a muddle than usual, with clouds hanging over the big two, Diocese and Danzatori, and the weather preventing Goritas appearing before the 2,000 guineas. Here are 2 typical clues. First, the Craven Stakes at Newmarket. Leafard's special favourite, Tolomeo, appearing for the first time with Spanish Place, but this day it was Muscatite in the red that beat them all, but left us guessing for the future.
And close up on the inside of this one is Muscatite, about 2.5 lengths between first and last as they go down into the ditch. And we have Spanish Place taking it up, but quickening on the outside, Guns of Navarone and Tolomeo. And they come up to the final half a furlong now. Spanish Place by a very small margin from Guns of Navarone. Muscatite improving on the rail, coming down to the last 50 yards now, and very little between Spanish Place and Muscatite.
And so the result, first Muscatite, second Spanish Place,
in
third
the 2,000 guineas
Guns
itself, Wassel, Muscatite, Tolomeo and Proclaim all reappeared. So too did Goritas, who'd promised so much before his disaster in the Dewhurst Stakes. Diocese recovered from lameness at the very last minute, and with Danzatori out, Vincent O'Brien's banner was carried by Lomond.
And also in the rear Lomond. They've been a furlong and the field closely grouped, but Tacorno leads from Lofty and Revensky. Just behind them all systems go, and just behind them on the far rail is Guns of Navarone. They've been 2 furlongs, and as they go past the 6 furlong marker, it's Revensky and Tacorno and Lofty, and just behind them Guns of Navarone and Muscatite just behind them, and Goritas prominent. They've got 5 furlongs to go, and the leaders tightly grouped. Lofty is one of them, Revensky is another, and I return you to the grandstand with those 2 in front.
So Tacorno towards the stand side with Lofty just on the far side of him, and then comes Revensky followed by Guns of Navarone. After these, Alverton towards the stand side, well in touch with the leaders, followed by, in the same colours, is Proclaim, and then after these, Wassel starting a steady run up the stand side, and so too is Diocese. So they come up now to the 3 furlong marker with Lofty just about in front as Tacorno begins to fade. And then after these comes Kuwait Tower, that's the grey, making some ground on the stand side. Just behind him, Diocese, and Wassel still making headway. Coming up now to the 2 furlong marker, and in the centre, Goritas and Lofty and Muscatite on the far side, and Lomond putting in a good run on the far side. Then after these, Kuwait Tower and Diocese, but as they go to the final furlong, it's Goritas, Muscatite in the centre, and Lomond on the far side. But it's Lomond who takes up the running in the furlong. It's Lomond who's going clear of Muscatite. Then comes Goritas, finishing very fast after these is Tolomeo, but as they go to the line, it's Lomond from Tolomeo, Muscatite and Goritas.
And when we look at it again, the interesting thing for me here was the way to which Lomond, under the circle there, got the run of the race, and Tolomeo to the right with the red cap didn't really. Also, Diocese over on the right, he clearly wasn't himself, but the vital part of the race is up front now. Goritas, who ran a very good race first time out, don't forget, going well, but Lomond behind him, Pat Eddery going to go to manoeuvre to the right. There he is, he's got plenty of room, he gets out, he gives Lomond a crack, he's got the whole of Newmarket to play with. But behind, Tolomeo and Gianfranco Dettori, well, he's working hard, but he can't really get his horse running because he hasn't got much room to manoeuvre in. But look, there's Lomond, out clear, sprinting towards the line. Now here comes Tolomeo, he's sprinting too, but you can't give away distance in a race like this. Lomond won on the day, but we were left guessing, which is the fascinating thing, what was going to happen in the future.
First Lomond, second Tolomeo, third Muscatite.
Seemed to sew things up for the middle distance races. With the milers, the arguments went on. In the Sussex Stakes, Lomond, Tolomeo, Muscatite and Wassel looked set to resolve their differences, only to be turned over by the trailblazing no-alcoholic.
Then comes Wassel, behind Wassel, Tolomeo and Lomond, but as they race down towards the final furlong, and it is no-alcoholic who's the clear leader from Wassel, then comes Tolomeo, and as they come inside the final furlong, and it is no-alcoholic who's virtually led throughout, leading from Tolomeo, Wassel, and finishing very strongly Montekin.
First, no alcoholic. Second, Tolomeo. Third,
I think the
Wassel.
season would develop a pattern. But in the Eclipse Stakes, we got the muddle of the year. A ridiculously slow gallop, Stanera, Time Charter and Tolomeo all outmanoeuvred by Pat Eddery's ride of the year on Salford.
Prima Voce trying to get on terms with Salford towards the outside. They come now to the final 3 furlongs. Lafontaine continuing to lead. Tolomeo has come into second ahead of Lobkowitz. Guns of Navarone on the rails. Muscatite on the rails trying to get through. So too is Stanera in the centre. Salford is making headway on the outside.
Yeah, he did it well, and there were some good horses in the race, you know. Stanera, you had Tolomeo, won the Budweiser. You know, he put up a good performance on that day.
And it's Salford with the advantage. Salford leads towards the stand side from Tolomeo. Then comes Muscatite making headway. Going for the line, it's Salford who leads. Muscatite finishing fast. Salford and Tolomeo and Muscatite are the 3.
This showed just how marvellous Pat Eddery can be. He seized the initiative early in the straight. They hadn't gone very fast. Tolomeo was there, but Pat came with Salford, a great big horse, held him together. The others all getting in a bit of a muddle. Time Charter has come outside, but it's really been too late. Stanera is there, but not at her absolute best. Muscatite hasn't got much room at all in the red, and Guns of Navarone almost fell over there as he tried to get room. But now Pat's holding this great big colt together, drives him on. Tolomeo's on the rail, trying to get back at him, but Salford's in charge. Muscatite coming very late on the scene. Stanera coming too. Time Charter out behind. But on the day, you've got to get there first, and that's what Salford did with Pat Eddery.
First, Salford. Second, Muscatite. Third, Tolomeo.
The 1983 Derby may have had unusual going, but it had some winner.
To go on from Gordian and Nar with Zoffany close up behind the leaders. Then on the inside, Pluralism, Tenoso and Holmbury with Tolomeo and the Noble Player, the last 2. Narayan is now just taking it up from Sluby, Holmbury and Zoffany, with Tenoso and Mittalini close up behind the leaders. Carlingford Castle on the outside together with Nar just behind the leaders. And Lomond has dropped back to last. Wassell and Appeal to Me are also towards the rear of the field as they come towards the end of the first half mile. And it's Tivian now just going up to join the leaders. Tivany just taking it up from Narayan and Zoffany, with Tenoso close up behind the leaders. Then just behind Tenoso comes Guns of Navarone. Behind Guns of Navarone is Salmon Leap. Behind Salmon Leap, Tolomeo. And Lomond is still at the rear of the field as they come towards the top of the hill. Tivian making the running, with Mittalini now going up to join him. Tivian and Mittalini with Tenoso right on their heels, followed by...
Well, I thought he was a very good horse the day he won the Derby. Obviously he was a better horse on the soft ground. This was a bit against him, I suppose, you know, but he was a very good horse.
And Tivian matching strides in the lead with Mittalini, with Tenoso close up third. Behind Tenoso, Guns of Navarone and Zoffany. Behind Zoffany is Carlingford Castle. Behind Carlingford Castle, Salmon Leap making a little headway together with Tolomeo. Coming down towards the foot of Tapnam Corner with just over 3 furlongs to race. Mittalini is in the lead from Tenoso with Narayan on the outside. Then behind Narayan comes Wassell, who's beginning to make a forward move. They're into the straight, and Tenoso has now struck the front. Tenoso has struck the front 2.5 furlongs from home, with Guns of Navarone coming up into second, then Wassell, and behind Wassell, Morcon. They've got 2 furlongs to race, and it is Tenoso out on his own. Tenoso out on his own from Guns of Navarone. Salmon Leap is trying to get on terms with the leaders, but as they come down inside the final furlong, and it is Tenoso who is clear from Carlingford Castle, coming up into second place, approaching the line, and Tenoso has led the whole way up the straight. Tenoso well clear from Carlingford Castle, and then Sheer Walk and Salmon Leap.
But we had a faller in this year's Derby. Philip Waldron on Yawa, and the season's most controversial horse, Tolomeo, once again centrally involved. As he comes towards the rail, Holmbury inside him is very much tightened up. Behind Holmbury, Sheer Walk also has to snatch, and Philip Waldron goes straight into the back of Sheer Walk. You'll see Yawa's tail going a second. Look, down he goes. He fires Philip up onto his neck. He throws him over the side, and he has to dismount in the middle of a Derby field, and that's not fun. But even before they came to the turn, Lester Piggott must have known he was on his 9th and his easiest Derby win of all, because he was absolutely cantering on Tinoso, and already our eyes were scanning back through the field to see if anything could sprout wings to challenge. Carlingford Castle with a white face, he was a bit squeezed for room. Salmon Leap didn't have much room on the rail, and Tolomeo also didn't get much of a run, but there were no real excuses, because this was much the best horse on the day. The only remarkable thing was how the grey Sheerwalk made up so much ground to finally finish third, 3 lengths on the same off Tinoso.
And so the result of the 1983 Derby: first Tinoso, second Carlingford Castle, and third
Which meant that the runners like Salmon Leap, Adonijah and Sackford, drawn out to the left, were in the very teeth of the gale. So too would be any horse who hit the front, and so the winner was to be Cormorant Wood, sheltered throughout near the inside rail and getting the luck of the devil to boot.
Sackford finishing well on the far side. Flame of Tara challenging. Tolomeo and Flame of Tara, the 2 leaders from Sackford, and Cormorant Wood going for the line. Tolomeo, Flame of Tara and Cormorant Wood bursting through. These 3 very close.
The Newmarket stewards had a problem here, because Tolomeo had clearly wandered off a line, and normally they look at the head-on camera and decide what happened. They looked at the head-on camera here. He's on one off the rails, and, well, what exactly happened here is pretty impossible, because there's a hurricane blowing. But they decided in their wisdom that he'd interfere with Miramar Reef. Be that as it may, it was a very interfering sort of day, because the wind was really blowing into everyone. And the fascinating thing to look for now is Cormorant Wood looking for the gap, because Tolomeo is blown again. He actually wanders across to block her, but she does get a gap, she does find some speed, and she wins the Champion Stakes.
first Cormorant Wood, second Flame of Tara, third Miramar Reef.
It remains only to be said that the Tories' appeal against his suspension was upheld, and of all the long line of queried stewards' decisions, the original idea of suspending someone for not being able to steer in a storm seemed the most unreasonable. But the best news from that Champion Stakes was that the connections of both Tolomeo and Cormorant Wood immediately declared that they would campaign on in 1984, and in these days that's something for our benefit. Perfect example there of how the jockey's card game of picking their way through the field can go wrong. And for our final race in this section, we can see how it can go gloriously right. Arlington Park, Chicago, the Budweiser Million, and Pat Edery and Tolomeo on the rail, daring and winning.
The mare Hushdeer is third, and Tolomeo. They approach the furlong pole. Nijinsky's Secret, there's Tolomeo on the inside. John Henry on the outside, 3 of them across the course. Final 16th, Tolomeo on the inside, and John Henry at the wire. Tolomeo wins it.
Well, it's a tight turn at Arlington and a short straight, and for Tolomeo to win from there, the leader has got to roll off the rail. Pat Edery not going to be able to go round them. The leader's got to roll off the rail, and if you look to the left, you'll see that Chris McCarron, he looks across to his left in a moment to see if he can hold the leader in to stop Pat Edery getting the run up the rail. A fascinating moment for jockeys, but the leader does roll off, Nijinsky's Secret. He rolls off the rail. Now there's a gap. Tolomeo going for it. Pat Edery really rousting him. Can he sprint? They're very short, the last furlong now. Nijinsky's Secret still in front, but Tolomeo answers Pat Edery. He really stretches, and at this stage, he quickens to go almost half a length in front, almost a length in front of John Henry. But John Henry hasn't won more money than any other horse in history for nothing, and he nearly gets back. Nearly, but not quite.
First Tolomeo, second John Henry, third Nijinsky's Secret.